Now today I don't have a story to tell, but I still have something to pass along. Some of my favorite jokes that I've collected over the years. Please be advised, these are not jokes to tell your parents. Just because I got them from my dad doesn't mean a goddamn thing. Mickey and Minnie Mouse were getting a divorce, and the proceedings were getting increasingly brutal. At one point in the hearing, Mickey was asked to take the stand. Minnie's lawyer approached the famous Disney icon and said, "Now, Mr. Mouse, it says here that you believe your wife to be mentally incompetent." "Haha," Mickey giggled. "No, it doesn't." "But, Mr. Mouse, I have your testimony right here. Are you saying in court that you lied?" The lawyer hands Mickey his own testimony for him to read. There, on the sheet of paper, Mickey sees what he told his own team of lawyers highlighted in yellow. Mickey just sat back and giggled once more. Mr. Lawyer, sir? If you would please read my testimony once more. I believe you need to take my testimony quite literally. Haha. I never said she was mentally incompetent. I told my lawyer she was fucking goofy. An old man goes to confession, and he enters the confession booth and kneels down inside. The window slides open and the old man speaks. "Forgive me, Father, for I've sinned. I met 3 25-year-old women last night. We all got stinking drunk and I had sex with all 3 of them." The priest responds, "Well, sir, you are not a very good Catholic." To which the old man responds, "Oh, I'm not Catholic. I'm Jewish." The priest, now confused why a Jew is in a Catholic confessional, says, "Well, sir, why are you telling me?" The old man jumps up. "Hell, I'm telling everyone!" Two friends were sitting in a bar enjoying a cocktail when the first of the 2 men started a conversation. "Boy, did I ever screw up the other day." "Oh, Lord, what did you do?" the second man chimed in. "It was the most embarrassing thing. Johnson and I were to fly to Pittsburgh for a conference. We get to the airport, and I approach the ticket counter, and there was this hot blonde with, well, huge boobs working. I meant to say I would like 2 tickets to Pittsburgh, but it came out I'd like 2 pickets to Titsburg. I was so embarrassed that I ran out of there, and we ended up renting a car and driving there instead." The second gentleman took a sip of his drink, shaking his head. "That's just a Freudian slip. It happens to the best of us. Like, just the other night, I was sitting down to dinner with my wife, and I meant to say, 'Honey, could you please pass the butter?' But it accidentally slipped out. Bitch, you ruined my life!" A man down on his luck figures that the only logical course of action is to drive his car into the lake and drown. As he was about to close his car door and start the engine, he hears a noise come from behind him. Ribbit. Vegas. The man spins around to see an unusually large frog sitting on the grass behind him. "Did you just croak out, 'Ribbit, Vegas'?" The man, now utterly confused, asks the frog again, "Are you suggesting that I go to Vegas? Ribbit, Vegas." The man figures, why not? Not like he has anything to lose. The man picks up the frog, figuring it may be a good luck charm, and drives to Vegas. As soon as he crosses the city border, he asks, "Okay, frog, what do we do?" "Ribbit, roulette." "Are you sure?" "Ribbit, roulette." The man drives to the most lavish casino in Las Vegas and sits down at the table with the frog in a satchel over his shoulder and whispers, "Okay, frog, what should I bet it?" "Ribbit, black." "Are you sure?" "Ribbit, black." The man puts everything he has on black and wins $100,000. The man is elated. He then turns to the frog and said, "That was amazing! What's next?" "Ribbit, blackjack." The man doesn't even question the frog this time. He quickly takes all of his winnings and goes to the blackjack table. He immediately finds the highest payout and puts $1,000 down and wins. After 30 minutes, he is up another $200,000. Fearing that the casino may get angry that he's winning all their money, he decides to call it quits and goes to the casino hotel and rent the most expensive suite for the night before going home in the morning. After getting to his room, he takes the liberty of ordering some champagne and takes a shower while he waits for room service to arrive. After his shower, he sets the frog on the bed and sits next to it. You know, frog, you have completely turned my life around. I was about to kill myself because I had lost everything, but you have given me a new lease on life. If there is anything I can do for you, anything, please let me know. Ribbit, kiss me. Wait, what? Ribbit, kiss me. Okay, the man says reluctantly. He picks up the frog and raises it to his lips, puckers up, and plants a kiss on its head. And that is how the room service attendant caught me in the room with a naked 14-year-old girl, Your Honor. Two deaf mutes normally meet each other at the bus stop each day as they head off to work. They converse, share photos of their families, and bond over the fact that they happen to be deaf and mute. But one day, one of the deaf mutes doesn't show up, and the other one simply thinks that he must be sick or something. But it quickly turns to fear after he doesn't show up for the entire week. The first deaf mute really begins to worry. 3 months go by before the second deaf mute returns. The first deaf mute signs, "Hey, where have you been? It's been 3 months, and I haven't heard from you." The second mute actually says, "I've been to the doctor. I can talk now." The first deaf mute signs, "Wow! How is this possible? I want to learn to talk as well." The second deaf mute digs into his pockets and hands the first deaf mute a business card. "This is the doctor I went to. He's amazing." Later that day, the first deaf mute goes to the address on the business card and checks in with the front desk. When he's called inside, he explains to the doctor, "I saw what you did for my dear friend, and I would like to learn how to talk too." The doctor says, "Very well. Please remove your pants, your underwear, and bend over at the waist, and please grab the table." The first deaf mute, very confused and concerned, signs, "Excuse me? How will this—" The doctor interrupts. "Please remove your pants, underwear, and bend over at the waist, and please grab the table." The first deaf mute finally complies and removes his pants, underwear, and carefully bends over at the waist and grabs the table in front of him. The doctor then turns to a medium-sized medical freezer and extracts a metal rod about 12 inches long that has been chilling for several hours. He walks up to the deaf mute, places his hand upon the back of the man, and slowly inserts the frozen metal rod up the deaf mute's ass. The deaf mute then says, "Hey!" The doctor, then satisfied, removes the rod and says, "Very good. Come back tomorrow and we'll work on B." An older Irishman walks into a pub in Boston and asks the bartender for 3 pints of Guinness. The bartender asks if there are any others that will be joining him, and the Irishman simply says no. The bartender then warns the Irishman that this is quite a bit of alcohol for one man to imbibe in one sitting. To which the Irishman says, "'Tis be nothin', laddie. I used to get a pint with me and me 2 brothers back in Ireland, and when I moved here to the States, I promised myself I'd keep the tradition alive. So I have a pint for myself and a pint for me 2 brothers." The bartender immediately smiled and told him that what he's doing is actually a sweet idea, and he offers his first round on the house. Soon the story of how he drinks a pint for himself and his two brothers spreads, and he becomes a local celebrity of sorts. He tells stories of the adventures that him and his brothers would always go on, and how they would get into trouble when they were younger, and the wild women they would bed, and the jokes he heard along the way. But one day, he walked into the pub and only ordered 2 pints of Guinness. The word quickly spread, and everyone feared the worst. As the bartender poured his drinks, he says, "I think I speak for everyone here when I offer my condolences." The Irishman, now confused, spoke up. "What should we be talking about there?" "Well, you only ordered 2 pints. We naturally thought that one of your brothers had passed," the bartender answers. "No, me brothers be completely fine and healthy. I just gave up drinking for Lent." A different Irishman walks into a bar and orders a Guinness. He sees that there's only one other soul at the bar, so he shuffles on down and sits next to the gent. After a long sip from his glass, the Irishman taps the gentleman on the shoulder and starts up a conversation. "You see that building across the street? I designed that building with my own 2 hands. I sketched it out for months and made sure all the measurements were spot on. But did they call me Mick the architect? No, they don't." Mick takes a sip from his glass. He sets the glass back down and starts back up. "Do you see all the lighting in the pub we're in now? I wired this whole building from stem to stern, lost some feeling in me right hand from the current, but that lightning flows through this place like a river. And do they call me Mick the electrician? No, they don't." Mick takes another sip from his glass. He sets it down and starts back up again. "And you see this floor we're setting upon? I measured every stone and laid it down brick by brick until the Lord himself was pleased. But do they call me Mick the mason? No, they don't." Mick finishes the rest of his Guinness, tips the bartender, and begins to head out, when he turns on a dime back to the gentleman and raises an old finger to the man's face. "But you fuck one goat,